Five Nights at Freddy's has over 350 jump scares across the entire franchise, and most of them are just a loud noise and a face in your screen, but some of them are genuinely psychologically cruel. They don't just startle you, they break you down first and then startle you. So today, I'm ranking and explaining every major FNAF jump scare from worst to best, starting with one that doesn't even need to be loud to ruin your night, Freddy Fazbear, FNAF 1 Power Outage. Here's the thing about Freddy's power outage kill. It's not really a jump scare, it's a sentencing. When your power hits 0 in FNAF 1, everything fails simultaneously. Doors open, cameras die, lights go out. You are sitting in complete darkness with 0 tools and 0 options. And then Freddy appears in the left doorway, illuminated only by his own face, playing the Toreador March like he's serenading you at a funeral. The sequence has 4 phases: dark waiting, Freddy's musical performance, silence, then death. Each phase has a 20% chance every 5 seconds to end, but force ends at 20 seconds, so your total survival window is pure RNG. You might get 8 seconds of music, you might get 40 seconds of hell. The community spent years believing that playing dead extended the sequence. Code level analysis proved it's all random. Players just wanted control so badly they invented superstitions. That's what makes this one stick. It's not the loudest scare, it's the one where you already lost 5 minutes ago when you wasted power on that door, and now you're just watching the consequences play out in the dark while a robot bear plays you a song. But at least Freddy gives you a musical send-off. Toy Chica doesn't even have that courtesy. Toy Chica starts every night looking completely normal. She's on the show stage with Toy Bonnie and Toy Freddy, beak in place, eyes bright, looking like exactly what she's supposed to be. A friendly mascot designed to entertain children, cute, harmless, corporate approved, and then she leaves the stage. The second Toy Chica starts moving, the beak is gone, the eyes are gone. What's left is this hollow silver-eyed thing staring at you through party room cameras like she's already decided how this ends. It's one of the most dramatic visual transformations in the entire franchise, and Scott Cawthon did it for one reason. She wasn't scary enough. He looked at her original design, said nah, and gave her a hunting form that turns a toy mascot into something fundamentally wrong. FNAF 2 already has you juggling more tasks than any human brain should handle at once. The Freddy mask, the flashlight, the vents, and the music box that you absolutely cannot forget about unless you want the puppet to ruin your entire evening. Toy Chica crawls through the vents, pops up in the office, and if that mask isn't on your face immediately, she lunges into a full close-up kill screen. Zero hesitation. Fan theories have tried to explain the beak thing in universe. Some say it's a safety mechanism to reduce her bite radius. Others tie it to detachable parts on the 1983 Fredbear figurines. But honestly, the real explanation is the scariest one. Scott just wanted her face to look wrong, and it worked. But if Toy Chica's jump scare thrives on sensory overload, the next one thrives on something far worse. Knowing exactly what's inside the suit that's hunting you. Springtrap. Here's the thing about FNAF 3. There's only one real animatronic in the entire game. One, and it's a rotting corpse wearing a rabbit suit. The serial child killer at the center of basically everything horrible in this franchise, crushed inside a malfunctioning springlock suit and left to decay for decades. You can see his bones through the torn fabric, exposed wiring threads through what's left of his mummified body. He looks like someone buried a mascot costume in a swamp and it crawled back out with a grud. FNAF 3 doesn't let Springtrap just charge at you. You're playing this constant game of misdirection, luring him away with audio cues, sealing vents, tracking where he's shuffling next. And the whole time, phantom animatronics are popping up to crash your systems. They can't actually hurt you, but every phantom jump scare chips away at your ability to track the one thing that can. So when Springtrap finally appears at the office window or crawls through a vent you forgot to seal, that jump scare isn't random, it's your fault. You know exactly which mistake led him through. A lot of fans will tell you FNAF 3's jump scares aren't the most visually intense in the series, and they're not wrong. But Springtrap doesn't need to be. You're not getting killed by a haunted pizza mascot. You're getting lunged at by the actual mummified murderer himself, fused to the machine he built. The man who created these animatronics finally became one, which is, you know, not ideal. But if Springtrap's horror comes from knowing what's inside the suit, the next entry gets its power from something far more primal, pure nightmare fuel. Emphasis on nightmare. Nightmare Foxy. Most animatronics in FNAF want to kill you. Nightmare Foxy wants to traumatize you first and then maybe kill you. There's a difference. He lives in the closet, which is already the most universally terrifying piece of furniture ever invented. When you first check it, he's just a plushie sitting there, harmless. Cute even, but every time you neglect to close that closet door, he progresses. Plushie becomes partially formed becomes fully realized Nightmare, and a fully realized Nightmare Foxy bursting out of your closet is a guaranteed game over. Here's where it gets weird though. Nightmare Foxy is the only animatronic in the PC version of FNAF 4 who can jump scare you without actually killing you. If you open the closet at the exact moment he's about to emerge, he lunges, you scream, your heart stops for about 3 seconds, and then the game just keeps going. No game over, no restart, just you sitting there with significantly less trust in that closet than you had before. That's genuinely cruel game design. A normal jump scare at least gives you the mercy of a death screen. This one just leaves you rattled and expected to keep performing. You still have to check the doors, watch the bed for frettles, and now do all of that while your hands are shaking because a 7-foot fox just screamed in your face for free. Some theory videos connect his grotesque design to the illusion disc concept from the FNAF novels, suggesting these nightmares aren't just bad dreams, but illusion-enhanced endoskeletons engineered to look as horrifying as possible, which means someone deliberately built the worst closet monster imaginable. But if Nightmare Foxy's closet trick feels stressful, wait until you meet an animatronic who makes you perform surgery on his face before he kills you. Funtime Freddy, every other FNAF game, lets you watch the horror from a safe distance. Cameras, monitors, doorways. Sister Location said no. Sister Location put you inches away from a dormant animatronic and told you to start pressing buttons on his face. Funtime Freddy is a whole production, opening faceplates, a fully articulated endoskeleton, and a Bonnie hand puppet called Bon Bon strapped to his arm that can independently detach and come kill you, which is, you know, not ideal. The worst of it happens on night 3. Hand Unit walks you through pressing tiny buttons on Funtime Freddy's faceplates in the correct order to remove his power modules. You're literally performing surgery on this thing's face. His eyes are right there, his mouth is right there, and the whole time your brain is screaming that this is a terrible idea, because it is. One wrong button and he snaps awake instantly. No warning, no buildup, just a massive animatronic lunging at you from a body you were just touching with your hands. The jump scare is theatrical. He rises from the lower right, his faceplates pop open like a mechanical flower blooming into your nightmares, and then he shakes his head violently while a piercing audio sting tries to permanently damage your eardrums. Then there's Bon Bon. In Custom Night, Funtime Freddy sends his little puppet buddy down the hallway independently. You have to figure out which door Bon Bon is approaching and close the correct one, or the hand puppet jump scares you separately. A hand puppet. Getting jump scared by a hand puppet, add that to the list. What makes all of it land harder than almost anything else in Sister Location is the proximity. The game tricks you into feeling like you're in charge, and then the dormant shell you've been carefully operating on betrays you in a fraction of a second. But if Funtime Freddy's jump scare hits hard because of intimacy, wait until you see what happens when his parts get melted into something far, far worse. Molten Freddy. Most FNAF animatronics have the decency to look like something. A bear, a rabbit, a fox. Molten Freddy looks like someone dropped Funtime Freddy into a garbage disposal and then asked the remains to go kill somebody. He's a tangled mass of wires, endoskeleton parts, and one sad mask fused into what can only be described as an angry spaghetti monster. Here's the thing about Pizzeria Simulator. The game tricks you. You boot it up thinking you're playing a cute little restaurant management sim, buying tables and placing arcade machines. Then nighttime hits and suddenly you're sitting in a tiny office with a temperature gauge climbing toward 120 degrees, while something that used to be Funtime Freddy crawls through your vents. The salvage mechanic is where most players meet him first. You find this disassembled heap in the back alley, and the game asks if you want to bring it inside. Fail the salvage prompts and he lunges at you without warning. Cool. Great decision bringing the wire monster indoors. But the office encounters are where Molten Freddy earns his reputation. The vents are his highway, and you're tracking him with audio cues while simultaneously managing ventilation, keeping noise down, and running advertisements that actively distract you. Let the temperature climb past 120, and you just pass out entirely, which is, you know, not ideal when a sentient ball of cables is 10 feet away. What makes his jump scare land so hard is the contrast. In the vents, this, he's barely anything, a faint smudge of wires, the suggestion of a face. Then the moment he reaches you, that indistinct nothing explodes into a screaming, thrashing mass of metal directly in your face. The horror of something half seen suddenly becoming everything you can see. But if Molten Freddy proves that darkness can carry a scare, wait until you meet the animatronic who turned the entire game's audio system into a weapon against you. Music Man. Most animatronics in Ultimate Custom Night want to kill you. Music Man wants to punish you for being loud, which is somehow worse. Here's how he works. Music Man sits in the ducts, listening, not watching, not patrolling, listening. The game tracks a noise meter, and every time something loud happens in your office, his cymbals start crashing a little faster. Let that meter climb too high, and he crawls into your office like a giant mechanical spider having a percussion recital, which is, you know, not ideal. But here's the thing, you're not the only source of noise. Helpy pops up needing his nose bopped. Balloon Boy and JJ show up in the vents. Mangle drops from the ceiling, making radio static. The phantoms scream in your face. Every single one of these characters creates a noise spike that feeds directly into Music Man's approach speed. You're not managing one threat, you're managing 6 threats that all secretly work for a 7th threat. The jump scare itself is genuinely startling. This enormous, spider-legged animatronic with a clown mask for a head comes crawling fully into frame while his cymbals crash in a deafening, accelerating rhythm. It sounds like a marching band falling down a staircase. The community turned him into a meme almost instantly. But players who've actually triggered his jump scare during a serious UCN run will tell you it hits different when you've spent 3 minutes desperately tapping noses and sealing vents, only to hear those cymbals reach a fever pitch anyway. What makes him genuinely clever is that he doesn't punish a single mistake. He punishes a playstyle. Every other animatronic is a problem you solve in the moment. Music Man is the consequence of not solving all of them fast enough. But if you think a sound-based threat crawling through ducts is unsettling, wait until you meet the animatronic that chases you through an entire mall. Glamrock Chica is a pop star who eats garbage. That's not an insult. She literally eats garbage. One moment she's strutting through the mega pizzaplex like she's headlining a sold-out arena tour, and the next she's face deep in a dumpster behind the kitchen. And somehow, she's also one of the most effective predators in Security Breach. Here's the thing about Glamrock Chica. She's built like a mascot designed by a committee of marketing executives who watched one too many 80s music videos. Neon colors, star patterns, glam rock makeup. She looks like she should be handing out birthday cake, not hunting a child through a neon-lit hellscape. But the second Gregory breaks line of sight, all that pop star energy turns into something genuinely predatory. She closes the distance fast, lunges into frame from just outside the camera angle, beak snapping with a screech that'll wake up anyone in your house who was trying to sleep, and it gets worse. After she takes damage, her model starts falling apart. The cute mascot exterior cracks open into something feral and broken. Early Chica is a pop star chasing you through an arcade. Late Chica is a mangled predator sprinting through dark service corridors with half her face missing. Cool. That's also a thing that happened. Security Breach's free roam structure means she can show up basically anywhere. Some players have reported her AI pathfinding into walls and just standing there like she forgot what she was doing. Others have shared clips of her silently rounding a corner and delivering a jump scare so efficient it looks scripted. Your experience with Glamrock Chica is basically a coin flip between comedy and genuine terror, which is fitting for a character who splits her time between eating trash and attempted murder. But if you think a Glamrock chicken with an identity crisis is unsettling, wait until you meet the one animatronic in FNAF 2 that you literally cannot stop once it starts coming for you: the puppet. Most animatronics in FNAF 2 can be stopped. Freddy Mask, flashlight, closing a vent. There's always something you can do at the last second to save yourself. The puppet doesn't care about any of that. Once it's out, you're dead. No counterplay, no last-ditch save, just a guaranteed execution. Here's how it works. The puppet sits in a box at the prize corner, held in place by a music box that you have to constantly wind through cam 11. While you're juggling 10 other animatronics crawling through vents and hallways, you also need to keep flipping back to that camera and holding the win button every single night, without fail, and the game makes sure you know when you're slipping. nothing. As the timer drains, the melody shifts into Pop Goes the Weasel. If you've played FNAF 2 more than a few times, that tune stops being a nursery rhyme and starts being a death sentence, which is, you know, not ideal for a children's song. But here's the kicker. Once that box opens, rewinding does absolutely nothing. It's over. The lights flicker, the cameras glitch, and those long, stretched out arms fill your screen. The jump scare itself is brief, almost surgical, but the 30 seconds of mounting dread before it arrives, watching that meter shrink while Toy Bonnie is in your face and Foxy is charging down the hall, that's where the real horror lives. What makes this even heavier is the lore. The puppet isn't just another haunted robot, it's implied to be the vengeful spirit pulling strings behind everything, literally puppeteering the other animatronics. Every time that music box runs out, it feels less like a game mechanic and more like something inevitable finally catching up to you. But if the puppet's inevitability kept you up at night, wait until you meet the thing that replaced your entire Nightmare roster on its own. Nightmare Fredbear. Every other animatronic in FNAF 4 follows rules. They pick a lane, they stick to it, and you learn the pattern. Nightmare Fredbear doesn't care about your patterns. On the later nights, he replaces the entire regular cast and becomes the only thing hunting you. One animatronic, 4 possible attack points. Both hallways, the closet, and the bed directly behind you. Here's the thing, his laugh is the entire game. When you hear that deep, echoing laugh, it means he's left the hallways. He's either in your closet or sitting on your bed, and you need to figure out which one immediately. If he's in the hallways, you close the door the instant you see him. Flash the light instead. Dead. Hesitate for half a second. Also dead. But if the laugh plays and you spin around to find him on the bed, you shine the flashlight directly at him, ignore it too long, and he picks you up. Which is, you know, not ideal. The result is a character that turns audio interpretation into a life or death reflex test. One sound cue tells you he's broken the spatial rules and is now somewhere behind you. Players who experienced FNAF 4 at launch consistently rank those nights among the most stressful moments in the entire franchise. And honestly, it's hard to argue. The margin for error is basically 0, and then there's the lore. Those razor-sharp claws share the exact same design as Springtrap's hands, connecting him to the Springlock suits that killed people in the timeline. Community theories argue the nightmares might actually be illusion disc-enhanced endoskeletons, meaning that grotesque appearance could be a psychological weapon built around the protagonist's trauma. Every jump scare becomes a replay of the Bite of 83. Every attack is a child reliving the worst moment of his life, over and over. But if Nightmare Fredbear represents FNAF at its most mechanically punishing, the next entry proves that sometimes the simplest scares hit the hardest. Bonnie, FNAF 1. Here's the thing about Bonnie. Freddy Fazbear is literally the name on the building. He's the mascot, the face of the franchise, the final boss of Night 5. And yet, if you ask most people which FNAF 1 animatronic scared them the worst, they don't say Freddy. They say the rabbit, and it's not even close. Bonnie the Rabbit is one of the original 4, standing stage left as the band's guitarist, heavily implied to be possessed by the spirit of a murdered boy named Jeremy. In gameplay, he works the left side of the building, creeping through rooms until he's standing right outside your left door, or worse, in the blind spot just beside it. If you don't check that light at exactly the right moment, he slips inside. You lower your camera and his face is just there, jaw wide open, filling the entire screen, accompanied by a scream that has genuinely made people fall out of their chairs. That timing is everything. Bonnie's jump scare almost always hits the instant you pull the monitor down. You're checking cameras to track threats, doing exactly what the game tells you to do, and the game punishes you for it. Players started associating the simple act of lowering the monitor with potential death. That's Pavlovian horror. Unlike Freddy, who follows a fixed path and ramps up in later nights, Bonnie is active early and moves unpredictably. He'll camp at your door, draining your power, vanish, reappear 2 rooms away, then be right back. The right side has Chica, the left side has chaos. And here's why Bonnie matters beyond nostalgia. He's a simple animatronic with simple mechanics. No music box management, no audio lures, no closet checks, just a door and a light. Yet he still dominates scariest jump scare conversations a decade later. You don't need 17 rows of teeth, you just need to show up at exactly the wrong moment. But if Bonnie proves that simplicity can be terrifying, the next animatronic proves that breaking the rules of the game entirely is even worse. Golden Freddy. Every other animatronic in this franchise plays by the rules. They move through hallways, they trigger doors, they give you a game over screen. Golden Freddy doesn't do any of that. Golden Freddy breaks the actual game. He appears as a limp golden yellow Freddy suit slumped in your office with hollow empty eye sockets. Not walking toward you, not crawling through a vent, just sitting there like something that was never supposed to load in. There's a poster on Cam 2B that normally shows Freddy, but on rare occasions it changes to an image of Golden Freddy. Lower your monitor after seeing it and he's just there, in your office, waiting. Here's where it gets genuinely unsettling. If you don't immediately pull that monitor back up, he hits you with a single frozen frame and a distorted scream, and then the game crashes. Not a game over, not a retry screen. Your entire session just closes. Back to the desktop, as if the game itself rejected what just happened. That's not a jump scare, that's a violation. Every other animatronic threatens your character. Golden Freddy threatens your sense of control over the software you're running. It feels less like a programmed death and more like a glitch in reality, and the lore only makes it worse. His roar can be heard in the final moments of Phone Guy's last recorded message, strongly implying Golden Freddy is the one who killed him. This ghostly suit that barely exists in the game's normal logic is also tied to one of its most disturbing story beats. He's not the loudest, he's not the most animated, but he is the only one that made players genuinely question whether their game was broken. That split second of real confusion and real fear is something no other jump scare in this franchise has ever replicated. This is the scare that proved FNAF was willing to weaponize the medium itself. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, click the video on the screen now.